Hi everyone, welcome back. We are going to take a break from the tournament for just a little bit to talk to some of our community members, guys that we've got in come for the special community event today. We're going to take a chance to talk a little bit about some level design and things that have been going on. So we brought in Sid, who's level designer on the project, as well as NATO, who has a new map for us to look at. I actually saw you down in the lab today. Everybody else was playing and goofing around, and you were over there in the corner building. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel much more comfortable behind the editor than the game. Like, it's just how I've always, experienced Unreal, really.
Yeah, it's been you're one of the few guys who it's actually been interesting to really watch. I think you've learned a lot and you've really progressed as just this single project has gone along, and your latest maps are really, you can see a striking difference in just the complexity and the way that they're built, and it seems like you're getting a lot smarter and you've learned a lot in the process.
And some pretty sweet BSP skills.
Well, yeah.
Learning the tricks of BSP.
I mean, some people say that it's like old school and you don't, everything should be meshed now, but I kind of feel like knowing good BSP is really important to go into doing meshing. Oh,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've said all along for years that the designers have always fought with everyone else that those are the tools that we use to prototype. Those are the tools that we use to create the gameplay, and then everything that goes into that has to kind of respect that moving forward.
Gameplay is king.
Gameplay is always king, yes. So why don't we pull up a map you're looking at, a new CTF map called Dock, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Shelley, if you could switch us over. Which, I'm trying to, if I can get out and have a good view here.
What was your inspiration for this to start with?
This is kind of halfway between AS Frigate, which was a UT-99 assault map, and Control, CTF Control, which kind of had it was an asymmetrical CTF map with two bases, one of which was quite open, and the other was quite enclosed. And I liked that kind of asymmetry because with a very closed-in base, you can kind of grab the flag, find some tight corners to hide behind, and kind of worm your way out. Whereas when you are in a much more open base, you kind of have to come in, take control, grab the flag, and move out with your team.
So you were going for these two different play styles on the...
Yeah. And I knew I wanted a boat.
Because
boats in UT have been
boat.
One of these things.
Yeah. I mean, everybody by now probably knows that, I've been harping on asymmetrical CTF all the time. I keep bugging everybody all the time. Hey, make an asymmetrical CTF shell. So I'm super happy that you took it up.
Yeah, I mean, asymmetrical is so much more dynamic. Just, the options of what you can do with it, I think, are a lot greater. It's easier to screw up and not do well, but it's also easier to get some more action out of it and more life out of a map, I think.
I'm really hoping we'll just end up seeing both flavors of, there's certain people that will always only want to play their traditional symmetrical CTF, and then there needs to be that room for experimentation and trying different wacky things, which I think is super awesome that you made this map. And kind of, I don't know, I know some people are concerned about that too, but just hybridizing Assault into CTF almost a little bit, just by the nature of the theme of the map that you're building. I mean, you don't necessarily need to start going crazy with side objectives and all this other stuff, but just the general feel and progression of the map lends itself really well to kind of tell at least a tiny bit of a story, and it's more iconic and identifiable, right?
Exactly.
You're on the boat. You're not on the boat.
Well,
you're on the dock, or you're in the bunker, or whatever.
It leads. I think it's a lot better for team play too, because you can, you have very, very distinct roles where the guy who's on defense has a chance to actually shine. If you're on the defensive side of the map, and as that changes, and then you switch sides at halftime or whatever, then you can let the other players in the team, so everybody gets a chance to kind of do their thing.
I mean, one of the things I really like about working on asymmetrical stuff is that you can create really unique spaces for both teams. And you kind of, the map becomes so much more readable, because, for example, on dock, if you're in the ship, you're in the ship. You're not in a sort of exactly the same version as the other side, and It just reads so much nicer.
I should notice that while setting up all our first pass spectator cameras for the community event this week. Like all these symmetrical maps today, and ended up labeling stuff. It just ended up like blue flag room, red flag room, versus actually being able to say on the asymmetrical maps, you're on the ship, you're in the temple, whatever. all those things just narrate much more nicely than the kind of almost now generic feeling standard CTF stuff.
Now, one thing that's missing from this map currently is quite a lot of blueprint scripting for the crane. One thing I want to be able to do is have a shipping container go between the hull of the ship and the top of the base on a kind of timer. So it acts almost like a pickup in the sense that it's going to come up. So you can get on board and ride it across. So like all your other pickups
crawl
need
inside
to
and you have a little bit of protection while you get across.
Yeah. And you kind of time all your other pickups around that.
I like that because it's not like, you throw a U damage in, or Sidney's favorite, the super health in, it can really imbalance a map. Whereas something like that, you can
notice the
the lack of comment. There's we have these struggles all the time, right? Because just one simple power up can really imbalance an entire map. But if you do something like that, that's a part of the map and an actual path. That's very, very different. But you kind of
well, I'm really curious to see what it ends up being and how it will affect the rest of the midfield complexities, and if you're going to choose to simplify things to kind of trade off adding a new, mechanic or system to it.
Yeah, I've got a huge chunk of feedback I need to kind of push into it, and
the reception seems really positive overall. So
I'm surprised how many people like it.
So this one is out in the forums. You can go download it now and take a look at it. Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Give NATO some more feedback.
Cool. So please go into the forums, hop, take a look, see, and download the map and play for yourself. So, cool.
Cheers.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
We're actually going to look at something else. We have.
Do we have an intermission image?
We have an intermission image while we swap out, and we're going to bring in Jayoplus next. No, we're going to do Race next. What are we doing?
I've got
Jayoplus is next on my list. He's over there listening to the tunes. He ain't paying attention to us.
I was chatting with Spring.
Which one was this? Control?
Yep.
Whose is this?
Somebody's.
That's mine. You can hand it over if you like. Thank you, sir.
I guess this goes in there.
Yep. Just do
Right
this.
along
Just
the top.
loop it over top. Yep, that's it.
All right. The magic of cameras. NATO has converted it into a different person. We now have Jayoplus with us.
For that matter. It's magic.
Jayo has done a lot of stuff for us, actually.
Yeah,
you're a pretty versatile guy. How did you end up as a contributor? What have you done for us?
Well, I guess it started as I made a couple of space maps that were pretty terrible.
Some of them were actually kind of good.
But that's kind of where I started with this new game. Just wanted to get my feet wet and just make something that I thought was going to be just fun pub stuff. And from there, I started making a few more serious CTF maps, I think. Because I started as a CTF player in 2K4, so
that makes sense.
So basically, it's been just CTF maps that I've made. I tried some DM maps in the beginning of the development of UT4, this new UT, but they were pretty terrible. I'm sure. I'm trying to get those threads deleted because it's kind of embarrassing.
No,
it's the internet, man. You don't just get to clean up your past.
Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. So,
but it was like I was saying before. Like you can kind of track that progress and see, and not only for you personally, like your journey, but it shows kind of how we build, and I mean, it's the same process that we go through. It's not like we just throw a map out and it's brilliant and everybody loves it. We cycle on them and play them and worry over every little thing until finally then it goes out to the public, and then now finally with this new process we can kind of get feedback along the way, which has been really good.
Yeah, so let's take a look at your CTF map.
Yeah. So
Which one are we looking
Yeah,
at
this is
here?
well,
CTF
it's currently
Control.
called Control, which again, since I started with 2K4, I never played 99. Apparently, there's a CTF Control for the original, so this is not a remake. It was just the name that I threw on just for fun. But this is one of the more, I guess, almost competitive focused CTF modes that I wanted to make. And I basically started with an idea for, okay, let me just make a mid section that might be a little bit like hit scanny, just in a way where, again, from the way we sort of play 2K4, it was always one person play the mid and try to hold the mid for your team, whether it's control the power-ups or, hold the other team in their base. So I literally started with this middle section and just said, let me just try to make something interesting, but
What's the glowing green you damage?
so that's actually just a fun blueprint that I threw together that basically changes depending on what team is in the lead. So whenever one team scores, that logo changes to the team color, and
nice.
all the colors change to the team color. So basically, whichever team is in control of the map gets highlighted in the middle, and that was sort of the idea. You gotta roll onto that.
Cool.
But that was sort of the idea behind the map. So I started with this middle section, and when I got something that was semi-interesting or pretty interesting, I then started working towards building a base that was almost compartmentalized in a way where you have sections that, again, going back to how how we used to play CTF competitively is
one thing that's funny too, which I think you were the first guy to bring back, is actually having doors in CTF maps.
Yes.
I think this is the only map that currently has doors in the which I put the door blueprints on Rushbase for download, so anyone can download it and use it in their maps. But hopefully there are more maps with doors in them, because I think they added a cool dynamic.
We're actually hoping at some point to do something similar that we did with the generic lift and do a generic door version, so people can just kind of have a network robust version that's officially supported.
It's one of those things that it's so simple, but so complicated as well. And in previous games, we've always struggled with it. So I'm glad that we can do it.
Doors are a really fun mechanic, actually, especially for CTF, having those like pacing kind of checkpoints almost. If you make it past that, you're safe for a little bit. You get a little bit of a breather because people physically have to touch it again to catch up to you and all that.
Right. I mean, some of the feedback that I've gotten so far is to maybe increase that gap or the trigger distance, because right now it's really you have to be really close to it to open. But again, there are things that I can play with.
That's not necessarily bad.
Yeah. But I like the doors because it definitely has that dynamic of do I want someone to know that I'm here, or do I go close to the door?
You make all the old school court people very, very happy.
And also, I like the idea of like long sight lines, again, just because I'm very 2K4 biased. So you would notice there are some like long sight lines, like it might be a little hit scanny, but again, I feel like it's good to have that kind of variety in maps.
Especially in CTF.
Yeah.
If you want to track people, you want to track movement across the midfield, it becomes important that you actually have the chance to catch glimpses of people.
Right.
Seems like a pretty small map overall. Nice and tight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's small, but I've actually heard that it might be a little too big. It might be big in the sense of the flag to flag run distance. Because I timed it when I started working on it, and it's currently close to about 35 seconds, which might be a little too long. So I might still cut a few pieces out.
Varying accounts from people. Some people say 20 seconds is a sweet spot. Other people say 30 seconds is a sweet spot.
So it's opinions, right?
It depends who plays through it. If you have somebody who's actually boosting across the map and cuts 10 seconds or more out of the timing, then
it makes it worth it to boost. Really.
Yeah. So cool.
Awesome
new map. Hope you have more coming down the pipe.
Yes. I'm actually working. So I wanted to actually have. I mean, like you said, I have like 4 or so maps currently in the whip stage, but I wanted to have one map that I actually put through a complete pipeline to be done. So I'm currently remaking from 2K4, CTF Pistola, that was originally made by Sidney.
Yeah.
So I've been posting the progress on that on the forums, and I stream it on Twitch sometimes, the development of it, so feel free to watch.
I'm naturally excited to see what you do with it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's actually pretty cool because I get to play with the outpost meshes, which is another thing that I really wanted to do, just to show the versatility of how we can change the materials and make a map look different than what Outpost looks like.
I'm going to bring that up because I think you're taking the Outpost assets and kind of applying a more industrial look to them.
Yes.
Which is going to be really cool to see.
It's a good way for me to actually showcase that, okay, you know, you're not going to have just white maps in the game.
Yes,
awesome.
that would be
very, very happy.
Awesome. So we're gonna switch off once again.
I'm gonna disappear.
Do some little camera magic and say goodbye to our one friend and bring in Raste. So we'll have one more map to look at. And which one is it?
That one is good. Go down.
That one?
Yep, that one should be fine.
So is it like, okay.
You good?
Oops. That looks okay.
Yep.
I think it at least holds.
All right, I think we're good to go.
All right.
Welcome, Raste.
Hey.
So we've been looking at CTF maps. Actually, before I hop into that, introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, where you came from, how you ended up sitting on that couch.
Well, I'm Raste. I'm 26. I come from Switzerland. And I pretty much started playing Unreal Tournament when I was 10 with UT99. And ever since been a passion.
Yeah?
And like when I got finally the opportunity to start working with the editor in the jiffy, I just subscribed, got it, and started working on maps.
So this isn't your first map, though, is it?
This is my first map.
Wow, I did not know that. I thought you had a couple more.
I have
cool.
another one, but I had to pause it since this one is taking me so much time to work on.
Well, let's hop in and take a look. We've been looking at CTF maps. This one is actually a deathmatch map.
Yep, I see some textures are missing.
That's fine.
So basically we're looking at a work-in-progress meshed version of the map, right? So you've been going through and making new assets for it and starting to mesh out room by room and replacing BSP with assets and stuff.
Yeah, that's very satisfying process when you can finally delete the BSP and replace it with
with some better visuals. And we looked at this map early on when it was just the BSP shell. We did a stream and talked about it. Yeah. Did we?
Yep, we did.
I know we played it. I don't know.
Because one thing that stood out when you started working on it was that you came up with sketches first and kind of started.
Yeah, I really went the whole process was first getting the idea. I had this idea of using an hydraulic industrial sci-fi theme, which is something I really like, and then you start to get ideas about how you can kind of shape up a map around that. Mm-hmm. And I first sketched pretty much the whole map, which was really symmetric, really simple, and simply posting everything on the forum and getting feedback on it, and it really changed. It's really different from the original idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost always the case.
Yeah, but it remains pretty much the same in the spirit. So
that's a very very positive sign, right?
Yeah,
like being able to put an idea out there and then actually working, iterating on it, and
I received some very good feedback, and Neil has also been helping me.
Captain
Migraine, yeah, for item placement, which is pretty hard to do actually if you want to balance the map.
Yeah, Neil is the guy who did Leah for us, so.
Actually, part of that too is to just actually not worry too much when you start out with, and just being fine with the fact that I'm just gonna throw stuff in there, and I'm probably expecting that things aren't going to work out right, but you need to get that first starting point of having something to test and just being willing to say, okay, pants down, just have at it,
Well, not only that, just I mean, that it is to show that it is a very collaborative process, right?
Yep.
That you're willing to take feedback and make those kind of improvements based on.
Definitely, and you need to do that because in the end, you're doing that for the community.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's not for yourself. Well, a little bit for yourself also, but.
It's perfectly fine to do it for yourself. I mean, like for your own satisfaction and enjoyment of the process, right?
And also, you reach definitely a better result when you listen to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you have to select. Not everything can be done because everyone has a different take on the map, and if you try to listen to everyone, you get nowhere. So at some point you have to say, okay, I have this idea. This feedback is going in a good way. This is something I like. Even if it changes a bit the DNA of the map, you kind of take it because you know it would improve it.
Yeah, you're right. It's almost a skill on its own to decide what to and what not to listen to, and kind of, you know.
And the community's been quite vivid and passionate about maps. They're helping, and that's something really cool about it.
And there's the cool trap here, yes.
Yes, and I added the sound actually. I reinstalled UT99. I unpacked all the stuff, and I get back to the original Impact
from
Hammer
DM Pressure?
audio. No, I took the release sound of the Impact Hammer
Nice.
and I put it on the trap. I'll have to change it a
Nice.
little bit, add more bass because it's for smaller tubes.
Nice.
And
Very cool.
yeah, the idea for trap, that was definitely coming from Pressure, which I always loved, and I think many other UT players
Yeah, I
have a
miss
fond memory of it.
we have Canon, but we don't have very many maps with that.
Yeah, but
that
the
really good trap.
The funny anecdote there is actually that Pressure was one of the, if not the only map that had a gimmick in it that was actually played competitively, at least
Yeah.
in Europe.
Yeah.
I don't know about NA,
no, here
but
too, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was actually a very interesting map because it was about area control, but that's a whole separate conversation. So yeah, well, cool. Absolutely glad to have you here.
Thanks, it's cool to be
Really
here.
good to have all of our community guys. If you guys
Yeah.
both want to just hop over on the couch and
Come
wave
on.
one last goodbye before we take off.
I can split in the back.
There's enough room for us.
Oh, here's here.
Yeah, I think we'd also like to take just a moment to say thanks for your amazing contributions. And
Yeah, I mean this has been a very unique project for us. It's been a learning process for us as much as it has for you guys, and we absolutely couldn't have done it without you. And that's the whole reason we have you here and everybody else. So we're absolutely thrilled that you guys were able to stop by and kind of see what it is we do and give us some insight into what it is that you guys do on a day-to-day basis as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. I mean,
Yeah, thank you.
I also have to add, because I know they're probably watching. I mean, a lot of people like to fire my ass. Excuse me. Tim Rax, Cafe, those guys. I mean, it's one thing to get response from the forums that I guess inspire us to continue working and hear from you guys, but working with these guys that are always pumping stuff out, it's like, you want to keep up with them. You have to work on this game.
Yeah,
so.
that's for sure. Massive props to Raxi for all the servers and everything. And
Yep.
Definitely.
Because without that, then it's like no one's playing our maps anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the third community event we've had. We've got close to 24 people out this time. Every time we do it, it gets a little bigger, but we definitely, I mean, the whole reason we're able to do this is because of guys like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been here. We try and get as many people out as we can. We obviously can't get everybody, but we want to do what we can to show that we really do appreciate everyone's work. So, absolutely. And I'm guessing that some of them are probably in chat right now, although it's sliding by pretty fast.
It's like going crazy.
All right. What do we have next on the docket? I don't even know, to be honest. I believe we are going to do a quick break and then head into some CTF matches. Yes.
I'm gonna wave bye-bye. Everybody say bye-bye.
So everyone say bye-bye with the camera over there. Camera's over there.
There you go.
That one.
So anyway, hang out. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes with a whole new crew, and we will start in on the CTF matches and do some casting for you.
Yeah.
See you soon.